What's up, everyone? My name is Carey. This is my wife, Megan, and
That's
you
right.
are here for another episode of our favorite podcast. We are talking about how to survive Christmas, how to create great memories. What does Christmas have to do with Cialis and Viagra? I don't know, but stay tuned for another episode of MC Unpacked. The mood is right. The evening's young.
I wanted to sing It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas.
Everywhere you go.
You sound good on that song. It does.
You're
it's
done.
beginning
You
to look
stop singing.
Well, yeah, because I can't match
Take a
your
look
pitch.
at the 5 and 10.
Because you always take it like higher.
I hit the right key.
Okay, try again.
No, now it's too late. Now it'll be like way too high. I'm like Christina Aguilera high.
It is beginning to look a lot like
once
Christmas.
again. I see I went higher. I did it.
You did go
you
higher.
You missed the moment.
With candy canes and silver lanes aglow.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Listen, Christmas has so much pressure. It's too much pressure.
It has a lot of pressure, but I love Christmas.
We do
love
Christmas. The time of this recording, our Christmas decor will have been up for almost... At the time of the release of this recording, which would be like in the beginning of December, our Christmas decor will have been up for a month.
Yes, almost a month. And listen, for those of you judging that it was up before Thanksgiving,
we don't care.
I saw a meme that says that people who put up their Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving are happier.
They live longer, their sex life is better, everything is good. That's what I've heard.
All those things.
But we're going to talk about the things. How do you survive Christmas?
Yeah.
How do you get into this thing? And so, there's so many problems. There's so many great things, so many challenges, so many...
Yeah.
Good memories, so many bad memories.
Yeah, Christmas is amazing, but it's busy and there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and family.
And family,
Period.
right?
And
for some people, that is really exciting. And
they're
for
younger,
others, it's really challenging.
Because they're younger, because they haven't lived long. The longer you're around your family, the more challenging it becomes.
Mom, I'm not saying that. Carrie's saying that if you're listening.
Oh, you don't want to do real talk. Are we allowed to do real talk? I'll do some real talk right now. No, but how do you navigate it? Like, we just wrote down 5 things.
That's
5
right.
things to survive Christmas. Dive right in. Don't wait. Jump
so I hope
in
this
there.
helps you.
Oh, it will help you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't help you, you probably aren't listening.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Okay,
5 ways to survive Christmas. Here's one of the top tips that we have for you. It is create memories, not perfection.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Create memories, not perfection.
Great.
Oh my goodness. It is so easy to fall into the perfectionism trap during Christmas.
What does that mean?
I think it just is so easy to fall into everything needs to be perfect. Every
From
activity,
decor.
for those of you that have kids, my goodness, every activity you do with your children,
arts and crafts.
every part of the decor of your house. Thank you. You're like prefacing everything I say. It's excellent.
I know where you're going. Keep it up.
I think that there's so much pressure. And I do think a lot of pressure. Some of it comes from our own childhood, right? Trying to recreate memories that we had that we loved in our own childhood.
So you mean like you can remember, this is hypothetical, not you, Megan, but you had great memories maybe when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, whatever. You did this one thing and it was just like so awesome. And then you now have kids and you're like, we have to do X.
And then it just doesn't work the same and it's not nearly as special. And yet you're trying to make it happen because you're trying to relive your childhood. Just don't worry about that. Your goal is to create memories, not perfection. And I think another thing that is so challenging is the fact that we are inundated by social media and all of the Christmas reels and all of the things that you see people doing to celebrate the holidays. And I think often we can feel like my life needs to look like that. And so
whether you're
pressure.
listening, you have kids, or maybe you're young married and you're like, I want it to be perfect. Or maybe you're single and you're like, what does this Christmas look like? I have so many opportunities, but also I just don't necessarily want to go hang with these people. There's a lot of pressure.
There's so much.
Yeah.
I think about Christmas cards. There's a lot of people that do
Holy
Christmas
smokes.
cards, and oh my gosh, the pressure to get a good picture, especially if you're taking pictures with children.
And everyone is screaming at you shut
Everyone's
your mouth and
angry.
smile. We're happy. Smile.
And then you're trying to get a great, happy family picture, and it's so challenging.
And you have anxiety, and your kids are
Yeah, because it
weeping.
needs to look like Instagram perfect.
You've increased
oh
their
my
therapy
gosh.
needs for when they're 21 and 28.
Exactly. You may just need to do something fun. My favorite Christmas card that I ever get is from our friends David and Paris Murphy. They are the most creative and hysterical with their Christmas cards.
But they put a lot of energy into it. Don't try to recreate
That's true.
But
they don't care if people don't look perfect.
It's a vibe.
I love it.
It's a vibe.
That is true.
It's like what's that stinking? Space. Bruce Willis Christmas movie. What is his name?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I should deliver my man card right now. So, listener, when you hear this, I have a brain fart happening. I know you shouldn't know.
Good. I'm glad because
there are his 4 movies, 5, maybe 6.
I mean,
and it's a Christmas movie because he's
Die Hard.
Die Hard. Look at you.
Look at that.
I got a man card back from my wife. Yeah.
I got the man card.
This is a dumb, pointless point.
I don't know why you're talking about it.
Because David Murphy turns their Christmas card into like a Die Hard scene where things are exploding in the back, and it's amazing.
Anyway, that's one of the things.
That they're awesome, and they do a great job. But that also can contribute because the whole point you're making is that there are reel after reel after reel after reel of the perfect decoration that I made by hanging a shower curtain rod in between my door frame, and
it never works for me.
And I bought these bells at Hobby Lobby for 17 cents, and then all the things. And we have to remember that the people creating those reels, they are 100% trying to making a living on these moments. They're not trying to create moments that make memories.
Yeah. I also, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You missed that. Say that again.
That was a great statement.
Ooh,
say it again, babe, for the
Say
people
it again
in the back.
For the people. These guys that are doing this are making a living on those moments. They're not making moments that will end up being memories.
Yeah, I think that's
so
good.
So free yourself to be yourself and take the pressure off like the perfect scenario.
I think for me, where I really had to learn this because it was so challenging. It probably still is slightly challenging.
Ooh.
Christmas cookies.
Yes.
Like I wanted to do Christmas cookies with my kids, and it was a tradition that I remembered growing up. My mom always made Christmas cookies with us.
Year.
We would roll out the dough and we'd cut it with the cookie cutters, and then we'd make icing and ice the cookies and put the sprinkles on.
That is not doing it justice.
Oh, it is
there is a creative, artistic expression to these cookies. This process is a 24 to 48 hour process for mediocre cookies.
Oh, I think they're really good.
No, you think the memories are good.
We all like them. You were the only one that doesn't
Nobody's
like them.
come to you and said, Megan, you must start a company.
Brooklyn and Avery like the
sugar
cookies
with the icing. The memory was great.
The memory's great. But when they were little, they were making a mess all over my house.
Holy
there were
smokes.
Sprinkles that lived in the wood floors like until summertime.
They're still there.
They might still be there.
1615 Treetop Lane in Frisco, Texas.
I was going crazy because I was trying to make this memory, but I needed everything to be clean.
You had a
and
picture of
perfect,
yourself in an apron with a warm cup of hot cocoa.
If you could actually see the pictures of us making the cookies,
Disaster.
we were a hot stinking mess.
And you were pissed off.
And I was so angry, and it wasn't even fun.
And the kids are being kids. You're like, grow up and act like an adult.
So I had to learn, like, I need to just chill out. So we did take cookie making outside. It helped me relax a little bit.
Yeah.
We set up a table outside so the sprinkles didn't matter. And
now they're older and they want it.
And now they're older and they do great
that.
with it. But
the point is, create memories, not perfection.
Yeah.
It's a great point. And so if the picture's not perfect, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? In fact, I would be willing to bet that if you were to look at your phone right now, you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 to 16,000 photos.
So many.
And you know how many of those you will see over the course of the rest of your life? Probably less than 1%. And it will be probably because Apple suggests to you a simple slideshow, which I don't even know what a slideshow is, but we'll move on. A slideshow.
I actually love that
photos.
Apple does that.
Yeah, it is great.
Yeah.
But it is still going to be 1% of the photos, so who cares?
Yeah.
Just
true.
take the pictures, have fun. Also, do some silly, superfluous things. Go to Costco in the craziness and play tag or hide and go seek.
Oh, you guys stress me out when you do that.
We have the best time. I'm a grown man running down the aisles, hiding from my kids. They're laughing so hard. I'm
glad y'all have fun. And I have to pretend like I don't know you.
Who doesn't love it is the people who work there. You know who doesn't care? This guy. Because my kids will never forget it.
They
and you know
love
why?
it.
Because I have memories of the same thing with my dad.
Really?
We would play this tag game, and in order to be on base, you had to find a line in the concrete. And we would be running all over amusement parks. We'd be running all over grocery stores. And then if you got tagged, you ran. And I will never forget it.
Yeah.
It was more fun than I don't remember remember the rides I rode on at the amusement park, but I remember playing tag on the way to the car.
That's funny.
And that's the stuff
Yeah.
that matters. So we got some ideas.
Yeah. Try some new things this year.
Try 3 new things
this holiday season,
and see if they set and become traditions. Don't make them traditions because they might suck. Let's just be honest.
I mean, you gotta try it.
You gotta try it.
So you wrote down some ideas.
I just thought I want to jot down because some people are like, well, what do I do? And maybe you're not the spontaneous individual. Maybe you're not great at planning. You're just kind of, what do I do? So we just jotted down some ideas. So share those real quick.
Okay, so here's some ideas. Go see a Christmas production of some
Every
kind.
time you say Christmas, it sounds like
Christmas.
Elf.
I know, because I love
Christmas
Elf. It is my
production.
all-time favorite. Watch Elf this Christmas season. You need to add that to the list.
You should have like at least 3 Christmas movies that are non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Between Thanksgiving and December 25th. You have to watch.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to throw like an old school.
Yeah.
Like
White Christmas
or It's a Wonderful
Oh,
Life.
I love It's a Wonderful Life. That's
one
a
of the
good
best all-time Christmas movies. Throw in A Miracle on 34th Street, old and new.
Yeah.
Throw in there The
Both are good.
Grinch, old and new.
Yep.
The new one's pretty solid. We like that.
That's really good.
But do a Christmas production. It's like a musical.
Yeah. And this doesn't have to be a
play.
Christmas production at your kid's school. Like
It
go
can
see
be, but it's probably going to suck.
Yeah, go see like a really good one. Love you, kids. I'm sure
or
you are
go
awesome.
see a production that's on during Christmas, even
Yeah.
if it's not Christmas. Like we went to L.A. and Avery gave the entire greater Los Angeles area COVID. It was in 2019. She really did. And we went and saw Frozen at the
It was so fun.
Pantages. For those of you who don't live in this area, it's a really cool
Yeah.
theater in downtown Hollywood. It was just a great memory. We went and stayed in a hotel and we got dinner and we did that, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Not everybody can afford something like that.
But if you can, maybe give that a try or go to a Christmas concert. There's so many different tree lightings that take place. I mean, by the time this podcast airs, we might have missed them.
You'll miss them, but you know what you won't miss? There's going to be some neighborhood within, I guarantee, wherever you live, within 25 miles of where you live, there will be a Christmas
a neighborhood that goes all out.
Neighborhood that goes all out.
Yeah.
And just get some hot chocolate or coffee.
Yeah. Wear your pajamas.
Wear your PJs. Get some friends. And the traffic's going to be nuts, but who cares? Park and walk the street and say Merry Christmas to everybody. But just create a memory. And it might be great and it might not, but just give it a shot.
If you live in Orange County, California, there's so many great places to do this.
It's so funny. Orange County, California. It's like
I don't know why I say it like that.
There is an Orange County in Florida.
Well,
there is
I
Orange
was
County in
confused
New
about that
Jersey.
recently.
Yeah.
So
well, you
people all over the nation.
You live here.
I was confused because we're attending an event in Orange County and I thought it was local, but it's in Orlando.
It's just so funny.
But here's the thing: people all around the nation are listening to our podcast.
You know, fair. That's fair. I was,
You forgot about that.
No, all over the world.
All over the world.
We actually service as many people as McDonald's. Billions served with this podcast.
So if you live in Orange County,
Joe Rogan
California,
called me the other day and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Tell me."
If you live here, there's so many cool things to do. I think there's
no matter where you live.
There's the Parade of Lights in the Dana Point Harbor, the Newport Harbor.
Don't give that many specifics.
Oh my gosh,
for local.
there's so many
just
good
a lot
things.
of great things.
Yes,
and you can Google it. You know how to use Google, but also
you could go ice skating.
Let's go.
You could go ice
skating. Go to
skating.
the mountains.
Yeah.
If you live in Orange County, California, there's some great wineries about an hour and a half from here.
They have
that
fun things to do.
Things to do.
Yeah.
Tell me about one of the traditions we have.
A tradition we started when
If you can name that movie, don't say shh. Put it in the comments. We'll send you a $50 gift card.
I did,
Put it in the comments.
Okay.
You did.
We'll see if you guys know what we're talking about. We started a tradition when my kids were a little bit older that a friend told me about, and their tradition was to give a first star present. So to their children. So every Christmas Eve, when the sky would get dark and the kids would see
Ma
the
in
first
her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. Okay. Keep going.
I don't remember all of it.
Arose such a clatter. I sprang to my feet to see what was the matter. Go ahead.
Okay. You interrupted me and I lost my train of thought.
First star present.
Christmas so the first star that the kids see in the sky at night, they get to come in on Christmas Eve and they get a present when they see the first star.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And
at our house, it's always the same thing.
It's always the same thing because we always do Christmas pajamas.
Brand new PJs.
My kids know exactly what they're going to get, but they live for the first star moment.
Even this year.
And my kids are 19 and 14 this year.
Well, they just started asking for bougie PJs.
They did ask for bougie PJs. Yeah.
Last year, you got me like a quadruple XL shirt, and I went into a spiral of depression.
We did not get you a quadruple XL.
It was like I think it had a big dog on it.
Babe.
What was that guy? Remember the big dog apparel? That's what it had on there.
It was like nice
it
too.
It came with an extra seatbelt like on the airplane. It was fantastic.
Okay, here's another fun idea you could try as you're making memories. You're not going for perfection, you're making memories. Maybe get together with a group of your friends and throw a favorite things party.
Great.
This is where you just get people together, and instead of a white elephant gift,
raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens.
Bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. Snowflakes that stay on my... I don't remember that part.
And these are a few of my favorite things. We did good on key. That was
job.
Good. We stayed in the same key.
That's right. Good. So favorite things.
When the dog bites.
Get your friends together. And instead of doing a white elephant gift exchange, because we've all done that, have everyone bring a gift of whatever dollar amount you think is a good call.
15, 20,
15,
10,
25, whatever you think. Have them bring a gift that is one of their favorite things. And then you can do a gift exchange. And it just makes it special. It makes it
also means you don't have to go
like.
crazy ham on buying gifts for your friends. You can say, hey, we're going to make the memory, the time we spend together, and give some simpler gifts to each other so we don't have to break the budget. We don't have to do the things. Another thing that we do is for our staff Christmas party, we learned this from some great friends, is we do bougie white elephant. So it's a minimal, I think, what is it? Is it 25?
25, I think, is what we have done.
I think you crank that up and you get a minimal of $35, $40 bougie white elephant.
Yeah,
and
that
so
can
then
be
you're
fun.
not getting like a roll of toilet paper. Then everybody's legitimately fighting over the gifts.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Some people that stresses them out, but
It
you and I
does.
enjoy that.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole point of all this is this Christmas, this holiday season, why don't you work on letting go of the perfectionism? Everything doesn't have to be perfect, but just work on creating some moments and making some memories. If you have kids, making those memories with your family. If you're a single adult, get your friends together and make some incredible Christmas memories with your friends.
Great.
There's something special about friends who become like family. So take the time, make the investment.
We live 1,600 miles away from the closest family members that we have. So all of our people we do holidays with are friends who have become family.
Yeah.
But it starts by investing in this.
Yeah.
Okay, so make memories, not perfection. Number 2, go for it.
Plan ahead and communicate your expectations.
Yeah, it sounds like marriage advice right
It
there.
is great marriage advice. So if you're married, definitely write this one down.
So by plan ahead, what you're meaning is start right now and look at the calendar of the next 30 days.
Yeah.
Which is going to take you into the new year. And just go, okay, where are we going to spend our time?
Yeah.
What parties are we going to go to? What events are we going to go to? Let's plan a time to make a memory. So we're going to take these 3 nights, and on this night, we're going to do Christmas lights. On that night, we're going to do ice skating. Plan it out.
And for those of you who like to be spontaneous, plan a time for spontaneity. And the reason we say that is because the holiday season gets so busy. There's so many different parties to attend. There's so many obligations, and it could just fly by, and you miss the moments.
It will fly by.
So it's really good to have conversations, and really with the people that you do life with, have some conversations about what your expectations are for that holiday
explain
season.
What that means. So, okay, if you're the planner and you have got on December 7th, we're going Oscaring, and on December 8th, we're going to get to look at Christmas lights.
And on December 9th, we're going to eat sugar plums.
And we're going to cuddle. Okay, so maybe if you're the planner like that, you definitely need to bring the people in your world, whether it's close friends or it's a spouse or your kids, and say, here's my hope and expectation. I would like for this to be a priority. And then if you're married, your spouse can go, okay, maybe we need to chill out on some of these things.
Yeah.
Maybe let's do 1 or 2 of the 3, not 2 of the 5. And then explain your expectations to your spouse of, here's what I'm hoping for. I want to make sure that we know we're going here for that day, that we have a great attitude going into it. And what I want is just phones down, and I want us in the car listening to music, whatever it is. Don't go into it blindly. Communicate those things.
If you have teenagers, tell them in advance. We're going to put our phones down, and we're going to hang out.
In fact, that's probably the memory you should make is at least 5 times this Christmas season. no phones. Like, just put them in a bag, put them in the front of the car, or put them in a certain area in the kitchen. You don't need them.
Yeah.
But the communicating expectations. Otherwise, not you. Again, this is hypothetical. You can go into that with romantic fascinations of it's going to be amazing, like a Hallmark movie.
And then you're
oh my god,
completely disappointed.
It's going to be so great. And then your husband had not that it's a wife that's like that, but it is. And your husband had a crappy day at work.
Not always.
100%. And then he shows up and he's like, I don't want to be here. And you didn't say anything about how important it was. And then you're ticked, and then he's ticked, and the kids are feeling the tension, and you're driving through looking at the Christmas lights in silence. I've never done that before. Fun. I'm just saying it's possible. And so it communicating the expectation up front. Then if I'm the husband, let's say, and I had a rough day at work, I know I can go, you know what, that sucked. But my wife told me this is important to her. I can rustle up some energy and get in there and smile. And I'm going to go to bed tired, but my wife's going to feel happy about this. My kids are going to feel happy. And it can go both ways.
Yeah, it can go both ways. And I think, too, some of those expectations, planning ahead means creating some space for rest because the holidays are busy. So I think you have to acknowledge we can't do everything.
Correct.
And so sometimes you got to look at what you're going to say no to.
Great.
Because you're getting invitations to everything and you can only say yes to so many things.
Sometimes a no is your best yes.
Sometimes it is. And so I think that's where conversations really matter.
Yeah, I think we probably should do a podcast about powerful versus powerless people. We got turned on to that by a great author named Danny Silk, who found it some other way and then wrote a book about powerful and powerless people. But just the idea of I'm not a victim of my schedule. I'm not a victim of things. So one of the things that I say, in fact, some of my closest friends who they don't ever listen to our podcast, so that's okay. I should say their names and give out their social security number right now. I got asked today, hey, come with me on this missions excursion to Latin America. Expenses are paid. We'll hang out. Three of my best friends, and it's not the right thing. Yeah. And so my answer is, hey, I would love to. It's not my best yes. So and they tease you about that. They don't tease is what girls do. Wow. They ridicule and mock me ruthlessly. Way to genderify the word. You said it, not me. They ridicule and mock me ruthlessly. And I said, hey, you can say whatever you want, but I'm not a victim to my calendar. Wow, I'm proud of you, babe. Anyways. Good job. All that to say, that's a little side podcast, is this Christmas season, plan things out, but don't be afraid to say no to some of the parties. Yeah. Even if that means it is with family. I know. So I think one of the things that is so challenging for a lot of people. I literally did a perfect segue. I'm jumping off of your segue into it. Are you ready? I was segueing myself, and you segued my segue. I didn't know that. Okay. You freaking. We don't have that in our notes. This is a free for all, babe. You bogarted my segue. That's all right. I'm going to keep going. I was on a rug. You pulled the rug out from under me, and you stood on my head. Well, since you're laying on the ground right now, I'll continue. You're not my best yes right now. Holy smokes. I freaking set that up. I teed that up so well. And I was going to be so good, babe. Pat yourself on the back. I was going to like give a sentence and then go, which leads to our next point, Megan. And you were going to be like, boom. And the podosphere would have blown up. What did you call it? The podosphere. Wow. Okay. So let me reverse it. You want to try it again? Okay. So don't be afraid to say no to some of the parties and some of the hangs, which may also include family, which leads us to our next point. That was such a good setup, babe. It was such a good setup. It does lead us to our next point. That is like I physically feel impotent right now. I legitimately I need like a podcast Cialis right now. A podcast Viagra. I've just been deflated of epic proportion. I feel like, why do I even try? Why do I try to perfect this craft when I'm just going to be flaccid over here? Wow, you are using words that you should not use on this podcast. That's okay. It's a metaphor. Babe, take us away. Where are we going next? I am really proud of you. You did a good job. Oh, thank you. Point number 3. You just spit your drink out. Oh, God. Keep it going. We are not cutting this. We are not editing this. This is the real deal. Welcome to another edition of MC Unpacked, where Megan punches Carey. That's what MC stands for.
It's going to be even funnier when I say the point.
I can't wait.
Go and invest time where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
Fantastic. Explain what that means,
Megan. I'm tolerating you right now. I'm teasing.
I know.
It means that I think that
let's say it for the people in the back can hear, and that is invest time where you are celebrated, not tolerated.
Yeah. I think that some of the greatest challenges that people face during the holidays is challenges with family.
Holidays, weddings, and funerals. They
do
have great potential to bring out the best in people
and the worst.
But unfortunately, more often than not, they also bring out the worst.
Right.
And it's rough. It's a reality. And the longer you live, the more experiences you have that are rough.
Yeah. And so I think that it's important to know, this may not
it doesn't necessarily apply to everyone.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't have to apply to everybody, but there are a lot of people that really struggle with knowing where to commit their time and how much time to spend with family during the holidays. And there's some people that are really struggling with some dysfunctional issues that happen within their family every single time they gather. And so I think the thing
you're with your family and it isn't very life-giving.
Yeah,
it doesn't
and
have to be abusive. Maybe it's just not life-giving. Maybe it's just it is a life-sucking. Like it's just like, gosh, you're driving over there to hang out,
and you're like,
and you're just dreading it, and you know that one relative, that one uncle, that one cousin, that one aunt is gonna be there, and they're gonna, if you're single, they're gonna ask you again, are you dating anyone? And you're just like, God, I just don't want to.
Or they're just always negative, always complaining,
always
and you're
negative,
like,
or they're gonna talk to you.
Guys.
You got kids, and they're gonna tell you about how you're parenting your kids wrong, and or maybe it just insert whatever
your situation might be. I think what we're trying to say here is, when you're strategically planning your time, because you're in charge of your time, invest time in the places where you are celebrated, not tolerated.
So let's explain what that means and what that is. What we are not saying. If you please hear what we are saying, not what we're not saying. What we're not saying is, well, my family's not life-giving, so I'm going to excommunicate them. And
pause. Say that again for the people in the back.
It doesn't mean that if it's tense, or if it's life-sucking instead of life-giving, or it's drama, or they're going to ask you the questions, or they're going to talk to you about how you're parenting, that doesn't mean you excommunicate them.
That doesn't mean you ignore them. That doesn't mean you say no to everything.
Correct.
That doesn't mean that you do everything you can to avoid them. No, because they're family.
You just don't feel the pressure to give them all of your time.
Yeah.
So the key words we're saying is invest time where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
Yeah.
So you have the ability to limit the amount of space and influence that they have in your life, but you don't remove it. These are called boundaries.
Yeah.
And boundaries are great, but they are created for maintaining relationships, not excommunicating relationships.
That's very good.
What a boundary is, it lets me know where it's safe to play and where it's not safe to play. A boundary is not saying that I won't play.
Right.
And that's an important component.
That's so important, because so many people today are just canceling every relationship that doesn't make them feel good. And listen, relationships are challenging.
Oh my God.
They're messy. They take a lot of work and a lot of investment.
And no relationship makes you feel good all the time, or it's a cult or something that you're doing a lot of drugs.
And you need grace as much as I need grace.
100%.
And so we've got to be willing to give grace to others. And so I just think it's so easy to cancel and remove people from your life because you feel like you're removing the pressure or the pain, but it's not the right response. And so you can create some boundaries. And
so what that would look like practically would be, okay, so maybe if it's Christmas Day or Christmas Eve and your family's going to be together for 4, 6, 8, 10 hours, maybe you're not there for all of those hours. Maybe you limit the amount of time, but you make sure that when you're there, you bring your best that you are fully there, and you can prepare yourself for the comments and the questions or the tension. and you're there because it is family.
And you're investing.
But they're just not getting the best part of you. And that's okay.
And can I just say, like,
yes.
I want to add into that, the principle of reaping and sowing that we find in the Bible, it doesn't just apply to our finances. It applies to our relationships. So the way that
it applies to everything.
It applies to everything. The way that we invest in relationships, the way that we extend grace, we will reap what we sow. And so it's so important to just keep that in mind as you're dealing with challenging relationships. And another biblical principle is honor your father and your mother that your days may be long on the earth. It's a commandment with a promise. And so it doesn't mean that your parents are going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that they're always going to handle situations in the right way. I don't always handle situations in the right way, but the scripture does tell us to honor. And so in the way that you interact this holiday season, what if you could approach it with honor? You can have boundaries, but approach it with honor.
Hey, mom, dad, I love you. Hey, siblings, fam, whatever. So good to be here. Hope you have a Merry Christmas. Well, if you would be around more often, I know. I'm just so glad we get to be together today.
And just smile.
I'm going to keep my head up. I'm going to keep thinking forward. I'm not going to allow this to tank me. I just recognize that maybe in this season, we're not on the same playing field when it comes to life priorities, and that's okay. And I think that's important. And if you're listening and you have a family of your own, you're a grown adult and you're on your own. If you are married and have kids, your immediate family is your number one priority, not everyone else. So you take care of your family first, and then everything else fits in. But listen, it's important to note that during the holidays, we need to do some things that we don't want to do, but we need to do it because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
That's just part of what you do.
It is.
And you just suck it up, buttercup, and you're going to be okay. But you just choose how much time you're investing where you're tolerated rather than investing where you're celebrated.
Yeah. And perspective matters. Like, you can choose gratitude. You can choose joy, even when you're doing hard things. So
and you can be around some people that you want to punch in the face, and you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, another principle that we think that is so important for surviving the holidays is this: be generous. What does that mean?
Well, generosity is an attitude of the heart. It's not an amount of money. It's just this idea that recognizes two things. One, it recognizes that everything that I have has been given to me by God. And number two, that means if God's given it to me, he's going to use that to bless me, but also bless people through me. And when we adopt that heart, there's something that shifts in our life. We become so much more grateful for what we do have because we realize how much we have. And I mean, if you're driving a car, you are in the top 18% of the world's population. Let that sink in for a moment.
Right.
If you have a car,
it's crazy.
And most of our listeners, if they're married, have two cars. If you have a car, you're in the top 18% of the world's population. Poverty is subjective. So some of our listeners make less than others of our listeners, but that doesn't mean you are lacking. And so when we recognize everything we've been given, everything we have, we've been given, it opens up our heart to the fullness of that.
There's this old song we used to sing.
I can't wait.
You ready?
No.
Because it is more blessed to give than receive, Jesus said long ago.
Methodist Roots coming out. Never heard that song. Look at you.
It's all that came to my mind while we were talking.
Methodist Church.
I know. Wow.
Heretical would be very proud of you.
They didn't used to be, but they are
They're
now.
Hyper heretical.
Real heretical.
But that's
Sorry,
not
guys.
what we're here to talk about.
That's not what we're talking about. But for real, it is. It's a blessing to get to bless others. And so I think one of the challenges we have for you is do something this holiday season purely to bless somebody else. And to benefit somebody else. I think one of my favorite things that our family did for a season on Christmas, because we didn't have a lot of family out here in California. So when we were done with our Christmas morning activities, we were like, what can we do? What should we do? And we just came up with this idea as a family.
Actually, our daughter did.
Yeah. Was it Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Came up with an idea, I think originally to go, was it to the hospitals?
No. There was this one guy who lived on the pier in San Clemente, and she said, Dad, can we take some pig in the blankets, which is our Christmas tradition, and some coffee to him So we did, and then we just started year after year just making up extra bags of food. We drive around on Christmas morning and find some homeless families.
In our pajamas, we literally, we get brown paper bags and we fill them up with food. Pigs in a blanket.
And other like sausage
and
balls
other things
and
like little cuties and things like that.
Coffee cups.
And fill coffee cups up with, hot chocolate or whatever it might be. And then we load up in the car and
on Christmas morning.
And we just go looking for people who might need breakfast.
We live in Southern California, so they're in abundance around
We know
here.
where to go. And there's been so many fun moments and memories we have for that. I did get spit on one time.
We did get spit on one time.
It missed my face and hit the window. Thank the Lord.
She cursed us out. That's okay.
But that's all right. She just wasn't hungry.
Yeah, so do something for the benefit of somebody else. It's a great thing. If you're in church, make sure that you're tithing, and then in Christmas season, give over and above.
Yeah.
I guarantee your church is just doing an initiative right now, whether they're doing a toy store, or they're doing food drives, or whatever it might be. Give over and above. There's just something about that that's beautiful.
If you're in Orange County, California.
If you're in Orange County, one of the 32 cities of Orange County, California.
If you're in Orange County, coming up December 16th, this podcast is going to drop before this happens, so you can
December
be a part
16th,
of this.
2023.
December 16th, 2023, we have our Give Hope
Annual Give
store.
Hope store. Yep.
And it's one of the most fun things to be a part of.
We're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of extremely impoverished families will get to come and shop for toys for their kids for Christmas, and it is a beautiful thing, and we're excited about it.
So we're doing a toy drive before to gather all the toys, but also day of. You can come and volunteer and be a part of making a difference in someone's life. So that's just a practical opportunity for you.
Absolutely. And another thing you can do is find a family to bless beyond measure. Find a family that you know that you can maybe be a secret Santa for them and drop off some gift cards or drop off some gifts, or whatever it is you feel like you maybe somebody that's got some car problems, or they're experiencing some financial pressure. Alleviate that. Yeah. And I'm just telling you, just like open your heart to that. The scripture says the world of the generous gets larger and larger, and that's so true. Yeah. If the scripture says it, it's a kingdom principle, and it never goes bad. It always works.
Yeah, it always does.
And that whole concept of I'm going to give and yet I'll have more, it's contrary. Yeah. It's paradoxical in nature, yet it works every time.
It does.
Yeah. So be generous.
Be generous.
Let's go through the 5 so far. Number 1, create memories, not perfection. Number 2, plan ahead and communicate expectations. Number 3, invest time where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Number 4, be generous. And last but not least, keep Christ in Christmas.
That's right.
My dad used to get so ticked off when people would call it Xmas.
Right.
He would get, you put Christ back in Christmas.
Yeah.
He didn't sound like a WWE wrestler, but it would have been cool if he did. Yeah. And he would get so frustrated. What's really funny is the Greek word for Christian is an X and an N. That's what the word Christian in Greek is, X and N. That's an abbreviation.
So X really represents
Christ. But it doesn't matter. It's so easy. I mean, goodness, any movie you watch, every movie has a hero, a sage, and conflict. Like, so somebody who's got to help solve a problem, and that hero always has somebody that's going to help him. Take, for instance, Luke Skywalker and Yoda. Yoda was the sage. Luke Skywalker was having to defeat the dark side, right? Every single movie you watch at Christmas, there's a problem. And the problem is the Christmas spirit is dying. And so our world has done a great job of shifting the purpose of what Christmas is about. Christmas is about the fact that God sent his son, Jesus, who was God made man, born of a virgin. He came as a baby humbly, and he lived a sinless life, and he died a sinner's death for the sins of all humanity. And it kickstarted at Christmas. That is why we celebrate Christmas.
It's the greatest gift that we could ever be given. And so Christmas, we're so busy celebrating and buying gifts and wrapping gifts and going to parties. And I think the thing we're trying to say to you is make sure you put Christ in Christmas.
So tattoo Jesus on your forehead.
Exactly
wear
what we're saying. Wear
t-shirts that scream at people for calling it Xmas. No. So here's what we want to challenge you. If you don't plan on it, don't plan on it, right? And it won't happen. So this year, make sure, like, one of the best things you can do is go to a Christmas service at your church. Yeah. If you're in Orange County, California, Shameless plug again. We have Christmas services. Come and join us on the 23rd and the 24th. 1 hour, right. Family friendly, awesome.
At the Movement Church.
At the Movement Church, theocmovement.com. But wherever you live, I promise you.
Yeah, there's Christmas services.
Christmas and Easter are the biggest days in a Christian church, whether it's Catholic or Protestant. Yeah. It is happening. Find a church. Go to a Christmas service. Yeah. Another great thing you can do is make a list of family members of yours, and every day pray for a different family member for the 25 days leading up to Christmas. So at the time this podcast drops, you're already 7 days too late, 6 days too late, but you can still get the same. You can make up for it. But just like wake up in the morning feeling, like P. Diddy. And throw on some Kesha. Don't throw on some Kesha. And just pray for your family member. And you can do that like this. God, I pray for Megan. I pray that this season of Christmas would be filled with joy for her. I pray that this would be a season where dreams are realized, where she experiences love like never before. It can be that easy. Yeah. But what you're doing is you're returning focus back to who God is, and you're focusing in on things that are outside of you. Yeah, that's great. And that is our biggest challenge. Yeah. Another thing that I love to do, and it's the easiest thing, is before you start into your Christmas morning ritual. I mean, everybody does it differently. Yeah. We do it accurately, but everybody else does it differently. But before you start, just crack open a Bible. Yeah. If you have one. If not, it's on your phone. You can Google it. You can chat GPT it. It'll probably be accurate. And pull up Luke 2 and just read Luke 2. And
it's a Christmas story.
It's a Christmas story. Take a moment to pray, but before you do that, just have everyone in the room just share one thing you're grateful for that God has done this year. Yeah. It'll probably take you 7.5 minutes, but you're taking the day where it's all about gifts and eating and cooking and preparation, and you're just starting it off by making sure that Christ is back into the process of Christmas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you said that well. So just to review, 5 ways to survive the holidays. Create memories, not perfection. Come up with some great memories this year. We want to hear about them, actually. Yeah. Drop them in the comments if you have some awesome Christmas memes. And plan ahead and communicate your expectations so that you're not disappointed and frustrated. Invest time where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Be generous. Do something simply for the benefit of somebody else, and keep Christ in Christmas. So those are 5 survival guides that we think are going to help you. And you know what? You're going to make Christmas.
This is going to be the best holiday season you've ever experienced. It is. And in fact, as we were preparing for this, I just know that a lot of you actually have gone through trauma over the holidays. Mm-hmm. I know someone very close to us for so many years hated Christmas because both of her parents were alcoholics, and her holidays were filled with her as a teenager being an adult parent, being a teenage parent to adults, and it was miserable. And she's protecting siblings, and it was just filled with police and filled with so much. So good God, you go into Christmas, that triggers so much trauma. And I know there's a lot of listeners that may be in a season like that, but I was just praying for you before we started this podcast, and I believe this Christmas is going to be different. Yeah. And you have a radical ability to change that by where you invest your time.
That's great.
And with whom you invest your time.
That's great.
So this season is going to be different.
It's going to be good.
And for those of you that love Christmas, this is going to be even better than the year before. And I just believe God's going to do some pretty cool things in your life, our listeners. And you know what? We're grateful for you. Yeah. We're thankful that you listen on all the platforms, Spotify, iTunes, podcast, YouTube. Listen, don't just listen, subscribe. Yep. Click the link so that we show up, download them, and do the biggest thing you can do for us is share it with a friend. Yep. Write a review. Just send it to a friend. Say, you got to listen to this. I'm telling you, there's one thing in here you need. It's going to be great. Keep listening because we're coming up on a brand new season. It's going to be awesome. And so we would love to hear, what are some things you would love to hear about?
Drop that in the comments.
Well, yeah, because this next season of our podcast, we're having friends come on.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be insane. It's going to be great. But we're so grateful that you tune in. We're wishing you a very Merry Christmas.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of MC Unpacked.